Hey guys, Sean here. Welcome to the F1 Word and to a rundown of 3 F1 news stories that have caught my eye over the last few days. Quick heads up before I get going. Today, Liberty Media and the FIA are meeting with teams to discuss their proposals for the 2021 regulations. So by the time this video goes out, there could well have been some big news. But there will be plenty of time to discuss that over the course of the Bahrain Grand Prix weekend. But anyway, let's kick things off. And McLaren CEO Zak Brown has said that the team could walk away from Formula One if they are not happy with Liberty Media's new vision of the sport. As I said at the start of the video, there are meetings taking place today to discuss the future of the sport, and proposals including a cost cap, changes to the revenue distribution, as well as changes to sporting and technical regulations are all set to be discussed. However, despite some of the positivity we've heard in recent weeks, McLaren wanted to tick all the right boxes before they sign up. For McLaren, it has to tick 2 boxes, to be financially viable and to be able to fight fairly and competitively. If it wasn't that, we would seriously have to consider our position in F1. That's not a position we want to be in. People throw it out there as a negotiating tactic, but this has to be a fiscally responsible, competitive racing team, and if we feel the new rules don't put us in that situation, we would have to review our participation in F1. Revenue distribution should be more balanced, should be performance orientated. To a lesser degree than today, there should be recognition for your history. Once it is levelled, that should accelerate everyone's competitiveness. Now first up, yes, I know we covered this briefly during Sunday's livestream, but not everybody watches the streams, so I wanted to include it in this week's rundown. It was a surprise when I first read this story, not because we'd had another quit threat, but because it came from McLaren. With all due respect, when Ferrari or Red Bull crop up with this kind of thing, I generally take it with a pinch of salt, roll my eyes and move on. However, to hear it coming from McLaren, that really did surprise me. Of course, all teams need the sport to be financially viable, and they want the sport to be as competitive as possible. But with McLaren, F1 isn't just in their DNA, it is their DNA. As we said on Sunday, the whole reason they exist is because of Formula One. Okay, they've branched out into the road car business, and indeed other categories of racing, but still, F1 is what they've always been about, and I guess prioritised to an extent. The thing is though, look at it from a shareholder's point of view. How long are they going to accept seeing a team trundling around towards the back end of the grid, or at best, scrapping in the midfield? It's been a long time since we've seen McLaren fighting at the sharp end of the grid, and when they came in, the board can't have been expecting what has happened since 2015, maybe even 2014. Ultimately, it will come down to them, and as is the case with just about everything, the money. Are they going to keep pouring investment into the team for a return of 8th in the Constructors? If I were in that position, I'm not sure that I would. And whilst I doubt they will walk away, it's a threat that should be taken seriously to a point. Gone are the days of one man calling the shots at McLaren, so if the board aren't happy, they could very well walk. But I will say, with discussions around 2021 going on today, I wouldn't be surprised if we hear a similar narrative from some other teams. Next up, and Renault boss Cyril Abiteboul has said that the team needs to be harder on itself following a difficult and frustrating weekend in Australia. I think it's fair to say all eyes were on Renault this year, with many predicting they could challenge Red Bull for 3rd in the Constructors. However, whilst Max Verstappen was spraying champagne on the podium, Daniel Ricciardo was sat in the garage following his retirement, and Nico Hülkenberg was celebrating, I guess, his 7th place finish, which, by the way, given the issues they had, was actually a solid recovery. However, Abiteboul said that the team expected much more in Australia, and that 7th place is little consolation. In seasons gone by, we would have been satisfied with a 7th place finish at the first race of the season, but this year we were a little disappointed. We feel our car is capable of fighting at the top end of the midfield. However, that wasn't always displayed when it really counted in qualifying and during the race. We are determined to show more in Bahrain. We have to underline the step we've made on the engine side, and the second Grand Prix of 2019 is an opportunity to showcase that. We will bring some aero updates, as we will do at every race. Having both cars inside the points is the target, and we want to show the qualities of our team. We have to be hard on ourselves if we are to keep on our path. So yeah, it wasn't a great start to the season for Renault. However, points on the board after race 1 isn't a terrible start, even if the team aren't entirely happy with that. Of course, many of us expected more, but there are still 20 races to go, and although I feel like Haas might be the best of the rest at the moment, I honestly do fully expect Renault to bounce back quickly and give us a great season-long scrap with the Haas boys. On Cyril Abiteboul's comments though, I think they kind of highlight just how far that team have come since their return to F1 with full manufacturer status. The fact that 7th place is not good enough and is disappointing shows how high they are aiming this year, and I genuinely do think they will be a force as the season progresses. But there does seem to be a level of frustration at the team when you piece together all the quotes since Melbourne, more specifically the ones featured today, but also his comments on Daniel Ricciardo needing a thicker skin. Some interesting stuff to keep an eye on there. Like I say though, very early days. I think, like many of you, I am very much looking forward to this weekend's Bahrain Grand Prix because there are just so many unanswered questions, and it will be the first real chance to see how big the Renault power unit improvements really are. Plus, all being well, we should get a much better representation of where everybody is. It's going to be another fascinating weekend. And finally, it has been confirmed today that both Mick Schumacher and Callum Ilott will be making their F1 debuts at the post-Bahrain rookie test. Both drivers will get their chance behind the wheel of the Alfa Romeo, but the story that is grabbing all of the headlines is that on day one of the test, Schumacher will be testing for Ferrari. Understandably, both drivers are very happy with Mick Schumacher saying, "I am obviously more than excited and would like to thank Alfa Romeo Racing for giving me this opportunity. I am really looking forward to what I'm sure will be a great experience. But for the moment, I am consciously putting all thoughts of the test to one side because I am also very much looking forward to competing in my first F2 race and would like to focus 100% on the weekend to come." And Callum Ilott, who also makes his F2 debut this weekend, said over on Twitter, "Really proud moment to have been selected for F1 rookie test. Huge thanks to the F1 Driver Academy and Alfa Romeo Racing. I can't wait." Look, as a Michael Schumacher fanboy growing up, it's amazing to see Mick getting his chance to test in F1 full stop. But to get the chance to drive that Ferrari, what a moment that will be. I think it'll be quite emotional for some. I'm sure as well most of us will agree that seeing the timing screens with the name M. Schumacher next to the word Ferrari is just going to be, well, wow, quite frankly. Now, obviously, as I've already kind of touched on, Schumacher has grabbed all the headlines, but it is also great to see Callum Ilott get his chance. He was solid last year in GP3, and he's got a lot of potential. To be honest, there is a fair bit of talent in that Ferrari Academy, and to be fair, the junior categories in general, the future definitely looks bright. Okay, yes, I know it is just a test, but it's great experience for these guys and they deserve it. Huge congratulations to both of them. That is it for this week's rundown then, and in the comment section down below, let me know your thoughts on McLaren's quit threat or any of the stories featured in today's video. Now, I will be back on Thursday with the Bahrain Grand Prix preview, and don't forget to join me over the course of the weekend for the usual mix of watch-alongs, reports and discussions. With everything going on this week regarding 2021, I'm sure there will be plenty for us to sink our teeth into, as well as all the on-track action. In the meantime, though, you can follow me over on social media. Links to Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and of course to Discord are all in the description down below. But as ever, thank you for watching. I've been Sean, this has been the F1 Word, and until next time, goodbye.